Oh, hello, yeah. Well, they do say that misery loves a friend. Yesterday, ah, oh dear God, Mike Graham of Talk TV. Yes, very often on in the mornings, talking common sense in the independent republic of him. Yes, Iron Mike, as he used to like to be known. I'm not really quite sure now. Anyway, he had a bit of spot of bother where meant that he's been suspended and probably fired for, well, allegedly having his Facebook account hacked. Yes, it's here. You can read that for yourself and you can pretty much guess what the words are. But the odd thing about this with him, I'm certain he was definitely his Facebook account was hacked, was that the nefarious hacker hacked his Twitter account, posting pretty much the same thing identically afterwards. And the odd thing about this particular hacker is they didn't do it for any sort of monetary gain or anything else, or just post sort of stuff that they realistically shouldn't have done, but have basically put up something that is entirely plausible that Mike would come out with having had maybe a few 2 glasses of wine. He does like to post up, photographs of him having boozy lunches in pubs. Anyway, I'm sure it'll make him very, very angry that he's been laid off. It's probably the wokeists, isn't it? But it's very indicative of people that are racist because they don't actually like the notion that they get called racist, even though it's always indefensible. Whenever you tackle people that are racist, they will never actually address their own racism. They, kind of squirm around it. And I've been dealing with this kind of thing, I think now, for about a decade. It really reached a sort of peak in about 2016, in and around Brexit, when basically I was working with a lot of kids who were really sort of starting to get into all the right-wing stuff that was out there on social media, and they found it hilarious to kind of hint enormously about how racist they were without actually being racist. And if you dared to say anything about them being racist, they would get very, very angry about it, despite the fact that we all know that racism has no basis in, well, common sense. Yes, Republicans in independence or otherwise. But people do get cross about the fact that you don't share the same view as them. I mean, you can see the entire sort of thing about Mike's brand on Talk TV. It was simply having a go at, well, yeah, the commies and the blacks and the gays. That's effectively it, isn't it, with his whole plank of the week. It was always the same people. You could always guess who it was going to be. It was always the lefties and the Muslims and the trans people. But they do get cross, don't they? And it's almost amusing to watch them get cross because they know that what they're doing is morally indefensible. And at the same time, the thing that I find most distasteful about it is the way that they will squirm whenever you do point out how racist they are, when they do finally step over that line. There's a lot of them out there. Anyway, that's Mike for you. Hardly the world's intellectual powerhouse. I mean, what I'd say to Talk TV is, if you want someone to come out with stuff that is borderline racist, that appeals to your average unemployed or retired boomer in Weatherspoons, I'll do it for a quarter of what Mike has. Mike was on. It's very, very easy to do because it requires no intellectual thought whatsoever. And in many ways, that's the thing that gets these people most cross, because they also know how devoid of real arguments they are, because that's racism for you. Yeah, we're all the same underneath, unfortunately, and we all have our little foibles, some of which might be having boozy lunches when, we open our mouth a little bit too much, and for other people it's other things. But in Mike's case, I think we definitely know what it is. Anyway, he'll have to put up with Jeremy Kyle instead, won't we? Another man that really shows the deep intrinsic love he has for his fellow human beings on such a fundamental level. Do have a lovely Friday. I actually do have half term next week. Thank God. I can sit and read and think. Yes. And all those other things that, well, the angry brigade don't do. Makes them crosser, doesn't it? Makes them cross. Enjoy.